get right to it. Hour number 3 on this Monday night. Dana Durnford is standing by up in British Columbia and back from a sabbatical. He's been working very hard. Yoichi Shimatsu. Yoshi, are you there?
Yes, I am. I'm in Southern California after, as you said, a very hard period of video editing and book editing.
You've been working hard. Thanks for the articles. I don't know how you got those out, but you did.
It was pretty hard, yeah. I mean, not much sleep, a lot of world problems, a lot of intrigue, and you know, as President Obama is flying over to Germany to try to...
Oh, he's going to spend time with the royals this week, too, in England, so more hard work. This whole Panama Papers attack on Cameron, now he's got to patch it up now that Cameron survived, and now... Well, true. It's amazing.
Wipe them out. You know, it's just amazing how, this kind of mayhem that's created at a time that, we got airport bombings and so on, and all connected together, of course. The old false flag, the old support of terrorism, the state support of terrorism.
Yep.
It all goes back, and there's no real urgency to stop this stuff and get on the world's economic process. The world economy begins to implode, as everyone warns about. Crazy time. And now we have this huge disaster in Kyushu in Japan.
Yeah, let me bring Dana on here and see if he's there. Are you there, Dana?
I am. Welcome back, Yoshi. Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you very much. Good to hear your voice again.
Yeah, we got a lot of earthquakes. If you look at the top of Rents, you'll see there are a couple of graphics I have up there. One shows the Ring of Fire, and it shows the recent earthquakes. 6.4 looks like Kamchatka up there somewhere. 7.0 or whatever it really was in Japan. 6.9 times 3. There were 3 quakes in the South Pacific. Jump over to Ecuador. You know about the 7.8 quake there. The only spot in the Ring of Fire where there's no activity so far is along the West Coast. And a lot of people are saying it's got to move. It's got to move. The fault has to slip somewhere. All right, tell us about Japan. Is that whole island fractured?
Well, what broke is not a local fault. This is the main. It's basically the San Andreas Fault of Japan, called the median tectonic line. It's a huge slip fault that goes from Kyushu all the way to right south of Fukushima. And what the really strange thing is that the shocks in Fukushima from that quake are larger than, let's say, right next door to some of these towns in Kyushu. It's very, very consistent, 4 on the Richter scale.
So it ran up the fault line and rattled the end of it, right? It ends at Fukushima.
Yeah, well, it goes into the ocean right south of Fukushima. But Fukushima, it seems to be more rattled by this because it goes undersea, so it's not really well studied or known. And also Taiwan got massively shook up also with a 4.7. So this seems to be a major part of this Ring of Fire, that has been moving, that is apparently rotating and turning, and also possibly wobbling. It's possibly something like a diving board, diving board.
Yes.
Like this, despite what we're hearing, GS and Caltech, who are saying, well, the quake in Ecuador and the one in Japan are completely unrelated. It's just a coincidence.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So we're getting this message from, again, this scientific priesthood that's been countering everything that we know for ourselves from, and so that earthquake map that you just put out of the Ring of Fire is very, very important. These are related, and because they have been related to that Fukushima event in 2011, because as you know, that earthquake actually it pushed the Japanese coast 8 meters inward.
Yeah.
Earth basically girdle was sort of tightened, which means, and there was no release on any other point, which means that the Earth wobble. I don't know if you know that the core of the Earth core, it rotates, but it wobbles. Sometimes bangs up against the surface, We have a tighter surface right now. So the only thing probably that could have whole ring of fire.
Nope, we lost him. Can you hear me?
Hello?
Okay, we lost you when you said the Earth's ring of fire, and then you dropped out.
Okay. Call me back.
All right, I think maybe he's going to call in. All right, Dana.
Hey, look, the Japanese is a 7 out of 7 scale, so it's 6.2 in Japanese is an 8.8, 6.4 is a 9.1 in the Richter scale.
Okay, they didn't translate it then, so they left it on the Japanese scale.
They did so, yeah. And CNN and MSNBC and all them were calling it the Richter scale.
They
so
lied, or they're stupid.
But it wasn't, right? It was a Japanese scale of 1 to 7.
Got it. Wow.
Yoshi, back yet?
Not yet. He's going to call in, I think.
Awesome to hear Yoshi.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah,
he really has been working hard, and I don't know how. He sent me 2-3 articles, and it was great. All right, now, what we're looking at here is this map, and a lot of people say, wow, all right, it is all related. There's no question about it. It's connected. It's connect the dots. It's the ring of fire. If Japan moved 8 meters and there was no real relief on any other major faults, that's an enormous amount of pressure and a shift. That's huge. Mm-hmm. Yoshi, are you back?
Yeah, I'm back. And the other two events, remember that tsunami in 2004, the Asian tsunami? Yeah. There was an underwater explosion in what looks like a gas dome pretty far down, sent shockwaves down to the core. And then the Fukushima, not only we had the quake, but we had that blast at Reactor 3 on March 15th.
Right.
Sent sonic shockwaves. And these express a special effect on the Earth's core. So the Earth's core has been evolving, and I don't know if you know, the North Pole is not where it used to be. It's moved away, okay?
Yeah, I read that somewhere. Yeah. Okay, so exactly. The MOX reactor, when it blew, it did have enough, I guess it was kind of a vertical trajectory.
Most of that reactor is underground. Most of that reactor
would have to be. So it went down.
60 meters underground.
Right.
It's surrounded by that mushy, what did you call it? Oatmeal? It's like gravel and water.
That's right.
So perfect like a speaker, something that shockwaves down to the Earth's core, further knocking. And basically it's like, when you're a kid, you played with a top, a spinning top.
Sure.
When it's perfectly aligned, right, with the gyroscopic.
It have to be, yeah.
It can go. It seems to go forever, but once it starts to wobble, if you knock it or something, you bump into something, there it goes. Just go crazy and finally fall over.
Well, it throws energy in all different directions too. It completely, it's everything's skewed. Yeah.
Instead of centrifugal force, you got centripetal force. It's all dispersed, and that looks like what's happening right now with the Earth's core, which is why the major scientific institutes are once again total denial of what's going on.
Now, let me ask you a question.
Okay.
Right. Okay. Dana just mentioned, and I want to get confirmation from you on this, that the Japanese earthquake intensity was a factor of using the Japanese 7.0 maximum scale. Was that correct?
Right. The Japanese scale is based on damage potential, the amount of damage done. So this was a very, very violent quake.
And a Richter would have been, Dana suggests, around 8.6.
Probably. The problem is we're not getting really clear readings out of Japan, and this is very alarming. Once again, every time just like Fukushima, there was some uncertainty there about the actual scale of the seismic event. So we have that same thing. What's strange is the first quake was supposedly Richter 6 point something. The second one was in the 7 area. So a more powerful quake. A lesser quake, a less powerful quake. So very, very odd circumstances.
Right.
And this is typical of what we call one of these strike-slip plates, like if that San Andreas fault, for example. The other thing there's been hundreds of quakes there, and they're moving in a northwesterly direction.
I got another piece of graphic that shows them tracking up toward Fukushima, or it did. I don't know where it went.
Right. There's this motion along this whole tectonic line, and it's heading toward a major nuclear reactor on the island of Shikoku called Ikata. This is the 5th reactor that was approved by the Nuclear Regulatory Agency of Japan. They approved it in May. Now, what's very odd is that in December, in San Francisco at Moscone Center, there was a meeting of the American Geophysical Union, and there are Japanese researchers from that area, including one from the Shikoku Electric Power Company, put out a paper analyzing the 1596 earthquake along that same tectonic, the medium tectonic line, and they described how it started right near where this reactor is today, right near there, and it moved toward the northeast, a little bit up to Q.
Okay, we lost you again. Moved toward the northeast, you said, and then we lost you.
Okay, all right, terrible.
All right, we lost you again. Hold on. We'll get him. Now, he's gone. Okay. Now, Mr. D, I just saw a story on the internet. There's a little video thing. How to buy fish in the market. And the answer to that is real simple. Don't. Jeez.
Time to run, man, when you see that sign.
That's true. That's amazing. So,
I was
all right.
about the weekend, I seen 12 birds altogether.
12.
No,
you can't.
no fish. Nothing jumping, nothing moving.
12.
There's one species on the shoreline.
Well, you still had some fingers and toes left to use up, I guess, then.
There's nothing left on the shoreline.
Wow.
Shocking. One species of the kelp weed. Yoshi-back?
Not yet.
That's right. One species. Man, I'm still angry. I got so angry over that. It's shocking. All last night and all this morning and all day I crashed twice today. Just woke up the second time. Still angry about it. It's like there's nothing left out there now.
And nobody but Dana Durnford is talking about this. Yeah. That's it. If we didn't have this program and Dana and Yoshi, there would be nothing. Nobody else is talking about it.
And there's no snow in the mountains. Like, there's no ice there. But, I mean, we're expecting snow. There went a little tiny bit of snow. There's nothing there. So this is going to be a brutal summer on trout and fish because the rivers and estuaries are going to overheat. And the coastline got no cold water coming. Yeah, no, this could be really bad this year, I think. Storms.
Well, this is actually set up to be the worst year yet. And you think about it.
Yeah.
And honest to God, if I cannot understand how the media, even as bad as it is, cannot cover the story. No birds, no bugs, no nothing. How can they not do it?
Yeah, even no ice in the mountains. You think that
that's the biggest story in modern British Columbia history, right? It's the biggest story.
It is. This is the one they've been warning us about. And a country like Canada, with all of its ice missing through its Rocky Mountains, no one's like, no, it's okay, man. Don't worry about it. We're actually, to me, I'm frightened to death. To me, I know the implications. And to me, I'm out there on the front line looking. And it's just what, I stopped at the forest edges, I don't know how many times in the last couple of days, and not a sound, man. Not a bird, not a finch, not a sparrow, no nothing. It's the spookiest thing you can imagine.
That is so sickening to hear. And it's not a surprise to me, but for those of us who care like Dana and many of you listening, I'm sure would feel the same way. It's really got to be heartbreaking. You go up there and you listen and you look and there's nothing there. Nothing.
The silence is so overwhelming that I'm angry. And that's the only thing I can replace it with. I don't know how to switch off yet.
I understand. Well, you can't switch off.
I'm still the same way. So what? Like, I don't even know if I can do anything tomorrow or the next day. I'm dysfunctional because of it. And who do you take out there to really, that's the whole point in it. What are we doing to ourselves? And at what point are we going to make that stand? And we can make a stand if we wanted to. But at what point Will we do that? When we do, it's going to be just chaos. Is the problem. I'm hoping for organized stead, whatever that means and whatever that might accomplish. I do very much, but still something.
We were. You back, Yoshi?
Yeah. I hear Dana, and it's a terrible situation, especially considering.
Imagine.
Yeah. They're going to be dumping a lot more now about really unloosing this highly, which is, basically, this is the stuff that all the sea animals are going to be drinking. It's going to turn to rainwater. It's going to evaporate. So it's like, because no one, because the media is not there, because the environmental groups are not there, they feel it's okay to dump more. Silence does not buy, it buys sponsorship maybe, but there's going to be nothing left for the environmental groups to defend when it's over. And they'll be exposed for what they are, a bunch of fraud, a bunch of fronts for the nuclear industry. So what Dana is saying, I think, we've got to bring that message home to all the environmental groups, environmental media, that you either get aboard now or, just be written off as nuclear.
Thank you, Yoshi. Well said.
TEPCO's announcing they're going to increase the amount of the tritium being dumped in. And it's not just tritium, it's everything else in those tanks.
How can they say that? Oh, we're going to be dumping tritium. Not to mention the hundreds, potentially, of other radionuclides that's in the mix. They never say anything.
And no real boasting about their filtration systems anymore. They've just gone silent about that. So, we assume that a lot of dirty water is going to be dumped in the Pacific because no one is squawking. There's not a single governor, mayor standing up and talking. There's not a single major press. So, you get what you ask for, or you don't go protesting. And they're inviting more. And I think up and down the West Coast, we've got to start confronting these guys and say, what's coming is your responsibility. It's not, you've given Tokyo Electric the green light, okay? They probably won't do it if you protest it, but they're going to do it because you're doing nothing there. You're pretending.
We don't, over here we have, all the, every city, every town, even a town of 10,000 will have its own little TV station with its own little news crew. They won't touch this story. They won't touch it.
And what are they scared of? Are you more scared of, President Obama saying shame on you, okay? Or are you more scared of what's about to hit you and your kids and your animals, everything, okay? So people are in denial, ridiculous denial. The cancers are erupting everywhere, and everyone knows somebody down with serious cancer, serious heart condition. This isn't natural that everywhere it's springing up all around you, 360 degrees. It's happening now, of course, in Japan. I'm sure you've seen some statistics. These kids in Chiba, 3 out of 5 have the onset of some sort of thyroid cancer.
Yeah. They're all big story.
Outrageous levels. Okay?
It's totally. Levels. They got babies being born over there now with extra arms, extra legs. These are all genetic disasters caused by the radioactivity. High number of stillbirths being reported. But is it in the media over there? I don't know. We got it over here.
Totally
I'm sure it's not. It's no go. You just don't go there.
Every person from Japan knows struck down. He got severe. One of my relatives talked to me about a man who was a big, strapping, tall fellow. Now he's down to 30 kilograms. He's about 66 pounds now. Okay.
He's gone.
Okay, yeah. In other words, everyone knows these cases, and they don't want to attribute it to what the cause is.
Isn't that amazing? 5 years, Yoshi, the denial. 5 years.
It's reporting in Vancouver can't be denied. This is extinction event. Everything dies. Okay, everything dies. And when everything dies, there's nothing left. There's not going to be anything for people to eat. Everything's going to be...
if we could just, Dana, if we could just get people to talk about the food chain having been broken and understand that, it would be a step in that direction. Nobody will talk about that. Nobody's talking about any of it.
I suggest Dana and I and you, we all do a campaign first on the environmental groups to just jack them up and tell them, you're part of the problem, not the solution. You're not really a genuine environmental group. You're bogus. You're agents of the nuclear industry.
And they'll tell us to take a hike because George Soros will cut off their money.
Yeah, exactly, George Soros. Yeah, right. The hedge funds are all there in the nuclear industry. Of course they are. Uranium industry. Anyway, Japan, this thing has a possibility. If it follows the 1596 model, it will cross the Japan.
Run that by us again. What's going to cross Japan? We lost you there.
It's a quake. It is moving.
The quakes, okay.
It has the potential to cross over under the sea, the inland sea, to the island of Shikoku, knock out a nuclear power plant that has been given the research for, and that reactor 3 at Ikata, in the Ehime province, Ikata, is loaded with MOX fuel. Okay?
Great, just what we need. Just what we need.
Yeah, and this thing is on the line of this quakes, and these quakes are moving out, and it takes time. I mean, they just jump out there. They just keep rumbling out, breaking out, and going right down. They call it a progression of quakes. So it's a lot different than the San Andreas fault you see in the movies. The thing takes a long time. It just sort of like goes. It's sort of like a locomotive, sort of like just sort of chugging ahead, stopping at a station, and going to the next station, chugs ahead.
No, that's a good analogy, yeah.
Yeah, so we really have a possibility of another MOX fuel meltdown at the end of this quake. And on the other side, the readings out of Fukushima are few, and they look to be false. They're saying it's only a magnitude 3 readings down there, and they give very sparing readings. So it looks very false down there. At the other nuclear plant at Satsuma, it's the only one in operation right now.
God. We got to take a break here. Quick question for Dana. Dana, what's the nuclear reactor inventory in BC? What do you have working up there?
I don't know what you mean.
Do you have any reactors, any power plants in BC?
Columbia, no.
I didn't think so.
No, they're in Ontario, central Canada, at the one spot on fresh water on the one river.
That's perfect. Yeah, great.
Supplies all of eastern Canada.
Oh, how smart.
And, of course, Ontario and right across from it in America, that big Lake Ontario, Lake Superior, these are polluted lakes, right?
Already.
25 reactors.
25 on 25?
Yeah.
Well, look, let me ask the rhetorical question. Does our species, and I hate to be identified with it, have a death wish? Is that what we're doing here? I mean, it seems like it to me. Hold on a minute. We'll come right back. Business. This is bad business in what we do every Monday. We try to keep you up to date as much as we can. Look at the very center top column at Rents, and you'll find the latest that I can get for you about Fukushima, which continues to be covered up by the American media. You just don't hear about it. It's not talked about. All right, let's go up to Dana, who did already bring us some news. I want all of you this summer, when you travel around, to look and listen. See what you see, or more than that, see what you don't see in terms of birds, in terms of bugs. Look at your windshield, look at the front of your car, look at the grill, look at the bumper. See what you're picking up, and let us know. I think, and this is something you're going to find that isn't necessarily exclusive to the Pacific Northwest. I think you're going to find this all over the country. Tell us some more, Dana.
Yeah, and you'll find that, like you say, way into the interior. We've seen that in British Columbia, Canada. The crazy thing about it is that as it happens in increments over a short period of time, people don't even notice it. But like you're saying, if they look, they'll actually get it. If they go out and talk to people involved, like even at gas stations that would normally clean windows, ask them how many windows did you clean of bugs, and they'll tell you none.
Very good. Very good point. Ask the gas station people. Yeah.
Yeah, and I've done it. And we went along the roads where right through the forest, thick rainforest here on Vancouver Island. Mm-hmm. And what happened was all this traffic coming through, all these motorhomes coming down 80-mile stretch of woods. And I talked to them, they had no bug splats on their window, none on their brand new bumpers, and the front of their vehicles are white. But on the side of the road where the wind pushes dirt in the little corners of the roads, you know how that works? Yeah. There was nothing in there. That was like my last chances for finding a spot. I always figured when I was doing it, and I couldn't even find nothing there. And I found, I think that in a 1 day period, I found one bumblebee and one horsefly on the side of the road, and that was in about 4 hours of searching.
They're not going to come back, dear friends. They're on the way out. Right.
Just like, see, the tidal zones for people, there's another 4.2 million species in the ocean. And not all that 4.2 million is going to try to settle in the tidal zones, but you only need 5,000 or 6,000 species to fill in the tidal zones. And so that's what was there originally. And if that's gone, how come the other 5 or 6 or 4.2 million species don't settle coastlines? Because they're gone. And that is the most frightening. Like you were talking about earlier, broken parts of that food chain. When the whole food chain is broken, the only things left is the mammals way up the food chain, which are the last ones to show the effects of radiation, or the bigger animals.
Yep.
So if the tidal zone was gone, everything else had to go. There's no way around that. And now the confirmation is just sickening. That was sickening. And now I'm going to have to go again. Now I documented yesterday, in particular, the weather was perfect, and it was just surreal, and I just feel empty by it. I just feel like, who do I yell at? Who do I get hold of and choke? You know, anger. I'm lashing out. Today I was lashing out. I done a 35-minute stream because I couldn't contain it any longer. Just utter frustration, and I crashed like a rock. Went to sleep again. Woke up and just find things to do to keep my mind occupied because I don't know what to do. I don't know how to get at these people. I'm not in a position.
Who do we go after? How do we get these invisible people to accountability? I don't know. I don't have the answer.
You want to yell at somebody. See, that's the natural reaction to basically what I'm trying to imagine.
Yeah.
You want to be able to single out and say, see, you're a lawyer, and you can't even. And the people that I want to do that to, I can't because it's a crime. I'll get charged, I'll get arrested.
What's the status of your court situation?
It's a circus.
Still,
well, in June I got to go down again.
God.
But, who knows, right? We're like you say, had to go to court 5 times, and I was not familiar with it. For calling a lawyer and explaining the law and showing the law and going out on the ocean and proving the law. And then I was lied. The media come out and claimed I was uttering death threats when I was just calling out a lawyer. I was charged with criminal harassment, but the media accused me of death threats in order to vilify me. So we know something that they hate what I done so much that they're willing to go that route. And then had me arrested, dragged into court 5 times. You know,
they got to let this go. They got to drop the charges, Dana.
It's a game.
Can't.
Right? They got rid of potatoes and banana chips and sunshine. Right? They said I couldn't use that as a motive, and that I couldn't use the video. I can only use the sound bite. Can't use the next sentence or the sentence before. And so that doesn't make any sense.
So you're not allowed to expose the lie about potato chips and a banana and a walk on the sunshine.
Yeah.
That has to stand now. But, oh, man.
Okay. So when I get out of jail, a week later, less than a week later, the police come to my house and to see if I'm suicidal. That's after the media demonized me through the country, because the same person who took the charge in the police, Constable Steve Crux of the Victoria Saanich Police Department, a private police force, sends the police to the house saying I was suicidal. Now, that's scary stuff.
That's harassment. They could have put you in a mental hospital. They could do anything.
Right? There was many scenarios where or they could come in and whack you and say, oh, well, he was suicidal. There's the proof, right? Police had to go there. But this was false. This was fabricated, whether to intimidate me or to set me up, and it backfired.
Sure.
I don't know. But it backfired when they arrested me because there was over 60 articles wrote. Yoshi. And Yoshi wrote, still, as far as I'm concerned, one of the best ones, where he brought up the Nuremberg and said how scientists who fool and trick the population, deceive the population into harming themselves by taking their word, which was, is culpable, is gullible, is deserving of the death penalty, deserving to be hung. But they're selling stocks here in British Columbia. We don't got nuclear power plants, but where we push all the stock, where we mine a lot of the uranium is in British Columbia, in the northern British Columbia stretches, and we've had some major accidents. But these people, Lucas London is the biggest purveyor of uranium in Canada. He's the wealthiest man here. He's from Sweden originally, and we talked about him a little bit before. But these are the people who know who knows what I'm doing, who understands there's an extinction event. Like the University of Victoria knows there's an extinction event. That's why they rolled out the guy I'm not allowed to talk about. And Woods Hole knows it's an extinction event. That's why they rolled out the guy we're not allowed to talk about. Neither one of them are nuclear scientists. Neither one of them have any papers on man-made nuclides. They studied natural nuclides in the environment.
Well, I'm not going to name him. I don't want to get you in trouble here either, but we've talked about him many, many times. Yeah. Mr. Buessler, couldn't be possibly talking about him. Okay, look, this is all a rigged... We talk about rigged elections. The whole Fukushima issue from day one, Yoshi, has been rigged. Rigged. It's a fraud. All the coverage we're getting, if we get any good stuff at all, it's from you or Dana or a few other really still honest researchers. And some of the ones in the beginning we looked to for leadership have just faded away. They're gone.
Yeah, it's a sad situation, but, it just means we just keep going harder. Yeah, that's all. And
that's
one of the things I'm interested in Dana's case, I've heard from other people, I'm not sure, people that I know, they said, oh, Dana Durnford, how can you associate with him? I said, well, what trolls are you listening to? In other words, there's been a lot of trolls on the Internet, that...
Nonstop. Yep.
Yeah, and I think, in Japan, we've done some work in tracking down some of these people and exposing them for what they are, working for PR companies. We track their careers and turn out they work for PR companies. So I hope, if you can get your friends to let...
We lost him again. We'll get him back. It's funny. We get him in Thailand, and oftentimes it's better than he's in the States right now. Anyway.
Isn't that weird? Yeah,
it's weird.
That too.
It's all weird. I got to think that the potential for interference is so big. You back, Yoshi? No, I think that's him dropping off. And
there's 2,000 PR firms out there, and they need a target. And so Yoshi and myself, and all you got to do is just seed it out and divide. And there's people out there, that are saying that I never went up the coastline, that I didn't take the pictures. And there's people out there all the time in all the comment sections saying I bleached the beaches.
Oh, my God.
I kid you not. And that's what they're saying to everybody. It was I bleached the beaches and then I took the pictures.
That's quite an act.
I wish I did, right? That'd be awesome. That'd be pretty cool. That'd be a neat trick. How could you do that one, I wonder?
Truly amazing.
How could you carry that much bleach? Because I take 2,000 pictures on a day, so the whole area.
We know what you did was astonishing. And
but that's the game, is to seed that doubt. And most people think it's like a banana and a potato chip and walking in sunshine because of 70 years of it. And it's just, the scientists, what drives me crazy is they got a degree to know the difference.
Right.
They got the education, and they know the difference. They know nuclear is not carbon-free. It's not too cheap to meter. It's not clean or green or anything else. And that, why do we got terrorist laws? Why do we got nuclear waste sites and repositories and everything else? Why do we have such, why do Dr. Raymond Gilman's dogs die for 35 years? He never cured a dog a single time, but he had no problem killing them for 35 years with americium, neptunium, and plutonium. Every single time.
How do the guys sleep at night? This guy, you can't be human to do that.
Right. And the name of your research is Loveless. That's the name of the institute.
Loveless. So that tells it all,
day,
folks.
Every day. And that's just one of thousands and thousands. We got Yoshi back?
I think so,
yeah, I am back. Anyway, I just would like to find out more about this rumor mill that's sort of tried to engulf you, and it's spreading nonsense around the world. We need to track these people down, and get them off your back. Expose them for what they are, okay?
Right, I'm not the bad guy.
Let's get on to that. Let's get on to that before your June hearing. Let's find out. Let's open up some of these nice little packages and see what's inside.
Yeah, it's a mess. It's dirty, dirty, and it's all nuclear industry, and it's all uranium mining, in particular in Canada, behind a lot of it. But,
a lot of PR companies are working with the industry, and they should be called out too. So that is pretty up. But work for the nuclear industry, and anything that's green shouldn't be working with these people. In other words, they should be losing clients, for what they're doing, potential clients. So you got to do something. We're capable of doing that. I think the word will be taken seriously. So let's get on to that. It's time to get these guys off your back. I'm just tired of hearing this crap.
It is. Every single day, too. It's vicious. It's uncalled for. And we got the death of the Pacific Ocean.
It's okay for them to hire their flunkies and trolls to libel and defame you, but you can't stand up with the truth. No. Don't you dare.
I can't defend myself. I can't even defend myself legally against the ones that are actually behind it. We know who's behind it. We know UJIC is behind a lot of it. We know the law school itself is behind a lot of it. And we know how they structured that out and tried to play it out against us. And we know that the Woods Hole Oceanographic got 825 scientists, and they got their own PR firms, both of these institutions in particular. And so the fight is in their court, and so it's up to them. So they're just vicious, unimaginably vicious thugs who don't care, who don't care, who absolutely don't care the death of the Pacific Ocean. How can anybody not care? I don't get that. I can't imagine that. I can't visualize that. How can you not care? I can't get it.
How can you?
I will say that the one good thing about the election campaign in the Americas in both parties, there's some real opposition for the first time. There's some real populist resistance. And hopefully this will carry over whoever wins the election, that some voices will now be finally heard instead of just the voices of industry, the destructive industries. So let's just hope for that. I think right now let's get ourselves organized. Let's go after these people. And then the Senate starts to change, Congress starts to change, let's try to find some voices there who are willing to stand up, And I don't know if people like Sanders or not. I'm not taking a position either way on him or Trump, but he did stand up against Indian Point, the reactor in New York. So that's a beginning. That's a beginning. I hope Donald Trump does the same, and we begin to build a momentum. This is the time for us to do it. Get our voices out there too.
The only problem, Indian Point is still working. They haven't shut it down.
That's the problem. Yeah, that's the problem. And they're courting disaster. And I wonder if these guys really want a disaster, maybe.
I don't know. There's something about this species that is defective, really bad.
Yeah. And I just wonder if there's a political reason to keep Indian Point going. Is no longer economic. So what could be motivating keeping this, burned out nuclear plant going? What is the point? Do they want to put a radioactive cloud over the head of every person? I don't know. Are they trying to take out New York State for some reason? I don't know, because it doesn't make any sense from a standpoint of electrical power or economics, none whatsoever. So,
well, if you look at WIP, the waste repository in New Mexico.
Nobody talks about that anymore either, Dana. That's out of the news now.
Well, they had an accident, as we know, big that one. Was on allegedly it was on Valentine's Day, but it was actually 7 days before that when a truck caught fire. They hadn't been back down ever since, and then a week later they said there was a radiation release. And so, why would you abandon 55 football field size caverns for a truck fire? Get on the other side, put it out, and tow it out of there, and keep working.
But is that how big? That's how big WIP is. 55 football fields. Wow.
55 football field caverns down there. Each one about 300 foot by 100 foot. And a truck fire, they evacuated all. A week later, they still hadn't been back down there, and there was a radiation. It didn't go back down. See, so the truck fire was the radiation release. They lied and allowed the plume to come through the community. So they're undeserving of anybody's trust. They already proved their arrogance, their contempt for everybody by that one episode. But since then, they've got $1 billion for this, $1 billion for that, and another $1 billion for this, and a couple of $1 billion for that. Now they want $1 billion for this and $1 billion for that. And they haven't even been back down in the mine doing any work. Or
they haven't been down there at all.
They're dressing up and pretending, and they're going through charades, and they're saying, "Oh, we're going to get it this time." But the whole community is dependent upon that nuclear waste repository. They have become dependent upon it, like a child to the mama's breast for milk, and they cannot survive without it. And they will wreck this planet rather than give up that incredible money. And they just pour money into it, no matter what happens, what they've done. They just keep throwing money and pretending it never happened. Why do you give them all the money for?
That's a really good point. Yeah, hush money, political hush money, right? You can squeeze it out of the government. And keep having nuclear leaks, keep having nuclear accidents, keep threatening people, and the politicians will pay for the hush money, right?
How much longer are the radiation is migrating all across the country. Cancers are growing. We're not hearing about it.
The weather is going crazy everywhere. We can't take any more radiation in the environment.
No, it's dosed. It's totally dosed.
Everything has just gone crazy, haywire, all over North America. It's penetrating down to Mexico by now. This thing is really burgeoning. And maybe Dana's right. Maybe it's just to get the payoffs, to get the money, and they'll keep arranging the leaks, okay? Maybe it's a form of terrorizing people. This code of silence. Maybe it's a way. Again, if we can get people to shut up about radiation, their kids dying about cancer, we can get them to shut up about anything. Think of that.
Yeah, you just put your finger on it, no doubt.
Yeah, this is what Dana's talking about.
Yeah.
It's just have an accident, they'll give you the money. Keep having accidents, they keep giving you money. This is so dysfunctional. It's so suicidal.
No, there's money in death. Money in death and dying.
And then hushing up the death, too. There's even more money in hushing up. Those people didn't die of radiation. They're still there. That town is still there. We don't know. We don't know, really. We don't know what's going on.
Like you had a million people
Fukushima, whole
you count on to send an email or Twitter or Facebook, Yoshi. And so when they write an article and say it's like a banana or potato chip, a million Twitters, a million tweets, a million Facebooks combined and emails saying shut up. That's all it takes, right? Shut up. Right. They'll go hide in the corner. They'll go cry in the corner. They'll hire all kinds of PR firms to try, like they done for that pepper spray at the university where they spent $175 to flush the internet of what they done. $175,000, and they gave the guy who done it $38,000 for doing it. But that's what we need. That's the basic big thing that we got. If we had 10,000, 1,000, or 500 people even, or a million preferably, sending an email saying that was a lie, it's not like a banana. Yeah. As simple as that.
Start small and get going. Yeah, I say start small and start building. Start getting going. We got to act. It's election season. Change. There's a lot of people who want change. A lot of people are angry. They're sick of being lied to, above all.
Yeah, but none of these people, except, I guess, Bernie's one statement about Indian Point, nobody's talking about nuclear.
Well, that's sort of the icebreaker, right? That's sort of like...
Well, if he goes back to it, it will be, but if he leaves it to freeze over again...
Well, Donald Trump's got problems with some of his managers and all that right now, so he's been sort of quiet.
You got it.
So let's hope he comes out guns blazing, at the convention. Let's just hope.
He knows... I really believe the man knows the score, but he has got to be careful. Like he went before AIPAC and gave that pro-Israeli talk. Was political. It was obligatory politics, and he had to do it.
He let them hear what they want to hear, and it's just the usual nonsense. I don't think he takes it too seriously. He says a lot of things, but I think he means something different too. He'll say a lot of stuff that has to be.
He talks in code. Things are. Oh no, he uses words that are obviously keywords for other things. Sure.
Yeah, exactly. But underlying underlying statement is this crap has got to stop. Right?
That's what he's really saying if you listen. And I've got to take a chance on the man and trust him. I don't know how else to do it.
Because the election is far from over. The issue, the nuclear issue, will be one probably addressed somewhere along the line. And the environmentalists are standing pretty naked right now. They're not looking good in this election. The environmental groups, they're not looking good.
They're obscene.
They've just vanished. They're the ones who are supposed to carry this nuclear issue. They're gone.
They haven't done crap. Nothing.
They haven't done a thing. So it's time to expose these guys and, bring on the beginning of a new era. That's what I say.
Dana, have you seen any environmental group at all standing up about Fukushima? Honest to God, if I can't think of one.
No, there's not. There's just a few
little ones, but none of the big boys. None of the big boys.
Radchick, Christina Consolo, and they got a big following, and they're reaching out to these organizations all the time, and they're saying the same thing as you're seeing and we're seeing, is that the system is pushing nuclear. Like a climate scientist, for instance, which is part of many of these big organizations, they went to university to get a degree in Pacific to say it's not nuclear and that the solution is nuclear.
Correct.
That environmental problems are not nuclear and the solution was nuclear because it's clean, green, too cheap to meter. But they actually knows it's not like a banana. They understand that. See, they got that education. And so climate scientists is another betrayal. The whole thing.
Couldn't agree more. Could not agree more.
It is a fraud.
It's just another money-making fraud.
And they have weight, though, right? They get traction.
All right. Yoshi, see you next week, partner. You take care.
Thanks, Yoshi.
Good to be back. Sorry I was away for so long.
No, you're doing great things.
Good luck. Good.
All righty. All right, Dana, you take care of yourself. And I'm really sad to hear what you report about the forests and the trees and no birds, no bugs, and nothing. It's so sickening. It just really is. So all of you folks out there, look around your neighborhood, your yards, and see what you see this spring. All right, take care, Dana. If you're still there, if you're not, we'll talk to you next week.
Yeah,
okay.
Hugs for everybody. Take care, folks.
Thanks. Okay, that's our Fukushima radiation update for you. Earthquake update, too. We may have a quake on the West Coast any time now. A good sized one. We'll see. And don't forget, there is no joke in the idea that you need to have food storage. And don't forget our wonderful sponsors at rents.com. They care. And we'll be back tomorrow night.